Welcome to Mojave River Valley News. I'm your host, James Roberts. On this episode, we're going to be talking with three candidates, Mr. Kelly, Mrs. Newman, and Mr. Godina. They're actually candidates for Victorville City Council. On this show, we're going to be covering a variety of topics with the candidates. One of the main issues within the country right now is public safety and defunding the police department. Also, we're going to talk about the homeless. What can the candidates or the city do regarding the homeless? Also, there's issues going on as it pertains to Measure P that's on the ballot this time around, the 1% sales tax to cover the public safety. It will help fire, police, code enforcement, and a variety of other issues like libraries and literacy. Hi everyone, welcome. This is James Roberts. I am sitting with Mr. Godina here in the city of Victorville in front of City Hall. Mr. Godina is a candidate for the Victorville City Council seat. How are you this evening, sir?
Fine. It's a wonderful day today.
Yes, it is.
Nice and clear, at least.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump into this segment. Can you please explain to the viewing audience why they should select you as a council member?
That is a very good question, and thank you very much for the question. As you all know, there is a large number of candidates running for city council, and it is up to you, the voter, to decide who is the best candidate to represent you and why. And you'll all have your own method of picking out your candidate. Let me tell you why I am your best candidate. I lived here in Victorville for over 30 years. I raised 6 children that me and my wife had, and we adopted 6 more, and they all attended the schools here in Victorville. They attended
Great.
Irwin Elementary, and then they went on to graduate from high school here. 7 of them went on to serve our military in the United States Navy, and they all became professionals and reached petty officer level, and some of them are still serving.
Nice. And to kind of transition to that, is this your first time running for public office, sir?
No, it is not.
Okay. When was the last time you ran?
In 2018.
And for what position?
City Hall, City Council.
Great. And have you done any volunteer work within the city at all? Or?
Oh yes, you can look up the records in the Daily Press. I've been involved since I moved up to Victorville. I created a music program that helped the underprivileged kids learn how to read and write music and perform in front of audiences. I did that for 15 years. We had over 350 students go through our program, and because of the discipline that our program provided, they were able to graduate from high school and move on to good careers.
Great. And right now you're running. Provide the general audience 3 reasons as to what you think needs to be corrected right now.
Well, we have a divide between the community and our police department, and we need to bridge that divide because we need each other. We have a divide between the budget, how it is allocated, with the needs of the community. Old Town has been in desperate need of attention from our budget. Instead, we've been promising them a 20-year program that just doesn't seem to get here.
And so let me touch base on that. Right now within the country, there's a lot of talk about defunding police and so forth. What's your position on that, sir?
Defunding police means a lot of things to a lot of people. We have defunded school systems, but they're still operating and they're still here. All that means to me is that when you defund the school system, for example, and it is proof that we can all see, it just means that there's been cuts so that we can better utilize our tax money that's going to them.
And what's your position? Are you familiar with the Measure P that's currently on the ballot?
Measure P and a lot of other measures are still something that I'm researching.
Well, Measure P is the local sales tax within the community to fund public safety. Is that something you would be for or against?
That is, again, something that I'm still trying to consider because we have a situation where a lot of our people are unemployed. They're having a hard time putting food on their tables. And right now, at this point, I think food on our table before taxes would be the way to go.
Right now, currently, there's a lot of divide within the Victorville council chambers. There's a lot of back and forth. If you are elected, are you able to compromise and actually have a civil conversation with the rest of the members to be able to get things done, or are you just steadfast on your positions?
Thank you. Yes, I've been watching the city council for quite some time, and yes, sometimes I've thought of bringing popcorn and a soda because it gets entertaining.
Right.
But we have to be serious about what we're doing.
Exactly.
We're doing the job of the people, and if we can't be serious for that time, then we really need a change. And I plan to be that change because I plan to be serious about people's time. And
just to segue about that, last question, roads. What's your position on roads? Up here in the high desert, a lot of residents, we have new cars, but we have a lot of potholes. Here in the city of Victorville, what will you do to correct that problem?
That problem goes again with the way our budget is being dispersed. Our budget is being dispersed in one area, which is for the police department. We do need police. There's absolutely no question about that. But we also need to have social services that will alleviate some of these community problems that cause these issues that create a police need.
Okay, and we're running short on time. We only have 1 minute left. Please provide the residents of Victorville your closing statements as to why they should select you as their new council member.
Thank you. Yes, if you select me as your new council person, I will bring peace and order through mutual understanding to the city council. I will address the city budget so it reflects the needs of the community. I will make sure that we have proper policing with proper body cameras so that even the police are protected in certain situations by a real recording of what really is happening.
Thank you very much, sir. I wish you the best. Welcome back, everybody. I am James Roberts. I am sitting with Mrs. Ashiko Newman, candidate for Victorville City Council. Good evening to you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
We're going to go ahead and just jump right into this. What's your current position and experience, and why you should be elected as a council member?
Thank you for asking. I'm actually a social worker. I've been working as a social worker for 11 years, so I do not really have a lot of experience working with the council or in any form of governance, to be honest with you. But I have been serving our city faithfully for the last 11 years, meeting the needs of families that have been just at their lowest. And I just feel like it's really important for me to lend a voice to the people here in Victorville, to extend my experience to them, because I already work with our city.
Fantastic.
And I just want to branch out to something more.
Okay, so there's always a trigger point.
Yes.
There's always a trigger point. What triggered you to run for office this time around?
Well, you can't help but look around at what's going on in our city. And so when I started to look around, we were having a lot of conversations with my friends. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of talking. It's time to put action to where I'm at. So I decided we would take it in prayer. I did that, and I really felt the need to just go forward. So what I did is I contacted City Hall, and I asked them to get me in contact with one of our current council members, Deborah Jones.
Okay.
And after speaking with Deborah, I was quite certain that this is something that I'm not only called to do, but I'm qualified to do.
Fantastic. What's your position right now with the current climate with public safety and the defunding talking point?
Okay, so I absolutely am not in favor of defunding the police. Right now, our community is at a very fragile state, and it's really important that we have an infrastructure within our police department that is going to provide for the safety of our city. I'm a social worker. I am not trained to handle the needs of law enforcement. If I wanted to do law enforcement, that's what I would have gotten trained for. Instead, I studied for social work. I'm there to meet the needs of the city on a different level. I think that instead of using those resources to train me to do the job of law enforcement, put the resources towards the department so they are better able to handle the needs of our city. Yes, we have issues with bias in the community. Yes, there's issues. And we need to be able to identify officers who shouldn't be there.
Yes.
And train good officers so that they're able to do the job that we're asking them to do.
Fantastic. So I'm assuming you're in favor of Measure P?
I am absolutely in favor of Measure P.
Good.
I think that right now you could see our fire department is stretched thin with all of the fires that are going on,
right,
that we really see regularly on an annual basis. So our fire department is in need of equipment, training. Our law enforcement in need of the same. Code enforcement, they are in need of they have their own needs as well, and we need to be able to meet the needs of the city. And I think that this is a great way and that we can do that. 1 cent tax on every dollar spent. Our residents are going to be able to add to the economic growth of our city, as well as passers through. We're the hub between Vegas, right?
Right.
And so we're gonna this measure allows those travelers to contribute to the growth and economic growth of our city.
Right. And getting back to the trigger point, is there anything specifically that the council is currently doing that you think can be corrected or improved?
Right now, I think our council's in a fragile state in terms of unity, and I think that coming together with new council members would be able to put our city in a state where we are actually in a place where our residents can build trust with us. We need that trust through community engagement, through other means of contact with our residents. Without that, we don't really have opportunity to build the trust that's really necessary for our law enforcement, for our elected officials, and so forth.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Have you ever served in a leadership position, like on any board or anything like that, where you feel that experience can transition over to as a council member?
Absolutely. I'm currently a supervisor on my job. And I also serve on the board of our diversity and inclusion team.
Okay.
And with that, I have experience with managing budgets, with understanding contracts, with understanding policies and how those things trickle down. And I'm also a military veteran, and I understand how things that happen at the top trickle down.
Yes, it does.
And so when we have a strong foundation with our elected officials, then that puts our city in a better position to grow, to have that peace of mind that we want to have as residents. Because at the end of the day, I'm a resident of this city, and I want to see the better for this city.
Thank you. And Watsena, how long have you been a High Desert resident, in particular Victorville?
Well, I've been in the High Desert for over 20 years.
Okay.
And I've been a resident of Victorville for the past 5 years.
Thank you. And my last question before we go to closing statements here. City of Victorville, you have the restaurant row. I'm actually I live in one of the neighboring cities, so we have to actually come to Victorville to spend money for the restaurants.
Absolutely.
What do you think you can do to improve the business friendliness within the city so you can attract more business to your city?
Well, I think that having our city attract new businesses is just critical.
Okay.
And I think that we need to attract more than just restaurants and gas stations and stuff like that. I think that we have what's necessary to reach out to corporate America, to reach out to engineers, so that our residents are able to make a living wage beyond just the minimum.
And locally. Last 30 seconds, please advise the people looking at that camera right there, let your residents and your constituents know why they should vote for you.
Hi, you guys. My name is Ashiko Newman. I feel like I am the candidate for this city because you matter. You matter more than anything. Without your voice, without your input, we couldn't do anything in this city. As a council member, we work together as a team, and I expect to bring that team-centered approach to governance. It's all about you. I'm a mom. I'm a regular person. I'm not a politician.
Thank you. I gotta let you go.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. I am sitting here with Mr. Frank Kelly in the city of Victorville in front of City Hall. You are one of the candidates that's running for council. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, sir. Good to be here with you.
I appreciate that. Can you please advise the residents of Victorville why they should select you for council?
Well, hi, I'm Frank Kelly, and I have been in the city of Victorville, lived here for the last nearly 20 years. And I have seen a lot of things that have been changing in the city of Victorville. I've seen the growth in Victorville, and there's just some things I've seen that the current Victorville City Council has missed opportunities. One of the opportunities I think that we missed greatly that went to the town of Apple Valley was the rail system that's going to be carrying people over to Las Vegas, which is $900 million.
Right.
So what I would like to see now is a change in the city council so we don't miss those type of opportunities in the future, as well as there is other people who are clamoring now about defund the police and all that. Don't want to see that happen.
Well, we're going to touch base on that. Let me go ahead and jump in there. Is this your first time running for local office?
No, actually, this is my second time running. I ran in 2016.
Nice.
I think in that race we had about 13.
Okay.
And out of the 13, I came in number 5.
Oh, you had a great showing.
I had a great showing.
All right.
Hope to have a better showing this time around.
Yes, sir. And what are you doing, or what can you provide the general public like a resume as to what you've been doing for the last 20 or 30 years?
For the last 20 years, actually, I'm actually a retired sales executive, but I have been doing here in the city of Victorville for the last 20 years. I've been working with kids. I run a nonprofit called No Drugs America, and we have been working here in the communities in the high desert area totally getting the message out to kids about the dangers of illegal drug use and the dangers of illegal use of legal drugs such as marijuana and alcohol.
Yeah, because I know you I call you the bike guy.
The bike guy, yeah.
You know, because of the nonprofit, and you were always providing the children with bikes.
Yes.
Yes.
And the reason we do the bike thing is because originally when we started the whole program, we started with a couple of bikes, and that was to get the parents to come out and bring the kids. And it just bloomed. Since the time we started back in 2000 with 2 bikes and maybe 30 kids and parents. We've been doing thousands of bikes,
yes.
Thousands of families and hundreds of bicycles, and the kids come out. This is the first year we didn't have it, actually, because of the pandemic.
Right.
We hope we can get past that next year.
And it's coming soon.
Soon.
With saying that, are you familiar with Measure P that's currently on the ballot right now?
No, I'm not.
Measure P is one of the, it's a proposition or a proposal for a sales tax for public safety here in the city of Victorville. Would you be in favor or not in favor of a 1-cent sales tax?
I would be in favor of anything that would improve our position here in Victorville. If that means we have to raise taxes at a point, which is voting for Proposition P, then yes, I would be in favor of that, because I think safety is more important here than anything else right now.
Yes.
And we have to be safe. We have to keep our children safe. We have to keep our senior citizens safe, and we got to look out for our veterans.
Right now, currently, there's no secret. You know, there's some the civility within the meetings of the city council. Mm-hmm. Do you have the ability, or do you have any experience to be able to transition and compromise with people you may disagree with?
Well, I was on a church board
okay.
for almost 15 years, and well, I would say 15. I've been with the church for 15 years. I was on the board for 7 years. And we had some disagreements, and I think that I'm a critical thinker. And because of my critical thinking, I was able to calm some spirits down. And I believe in a conversation, not a confrontation.
Right.
So I think that I would be able to, yes.
To navigate the waters on that?
Yes, absolutely.
And I want to jump back into public safety, because right now, with the way the climate is, I mean, that is very important to people right now. In regards to like fire, you know, their response times. Mm-hmm. What can we do to improve that? You know, is there budgeting that we need? Is it more training? Is it more stations? Is it more trucks? In addition to law enforcement, in a sense of do we need more people on the streets?
Well, I can talk to law enforcement because when I ran the first time, I ran on the platform of community policing, and I think community policing is really a way to go. I'm in favor of some reforms for the police department. I think one of the reforms would be to actually have community policing where we have people in the community that look like the people that they're policing.
Right, absolutely. And with saying that, you know, the country and everything is starting to open up right now. What's your opinion on the way the city of Victorville is opening up due to COVID?
You mean as far as the mask?
Yeah, well, in a sense of maybe in-home, in-person dining, outside dining, you know, just opening back up.
Well, my wife, I'm just talking to her this morning. I'm trying to get her to go to Denny's, and she was like, no. They haven't cleared the way for it. I do go out to dine.
Okay.
Because where I go, as long as they're practicing the social distancing, I'll go into a restaurant. I'll go outside dining. I'm okay with that. I know some people are still fearful of that.
Right, of course.
But at the same time, I think it's a choice.
It is a choice.
You know, you got to make that choice for yourself. And as a God-fearing man, I go out, throw my hand up and say, Lord, you know, I'm going in here, and I hope I come out the same way I went in and bless me, right?
Yes, sir.
So I just think it's a personal preference.
Okay.
Right now, because we're down further. I don't put the pandemic at all. I know people are dying, and I know they're saying it's because of the pandemic, but I think that it's a personal choice, get into a personal choice situation. And I would love to get to the point where we can get kids back in school.
Exactly. And my last question before we let you go, do you think currently, with the current climate prior to COVID, that the city of Victorville is business friendly?
For the most part.
Okay.
I think that we have some issues that we have to deal with. I think one of those issues is that because of the homelessness situation, especially on like our 7th Street over there, you know, we've got people who are burning down buildings and all that, and we're being a little touchy about who we let where, and you know. So
I'm gonna have to let you go. I got 10 seconds. 10 seconds, please. Closing statement.
My closing statement is this. I will work for all the citizens of Victorville, and I will give it my best because I think that we have some growth coming, and I think I'll be a guy to help in that growth period.
Welcome back, everybody. James Roberts. I'm sitting with Eric Swanson. You were behind the scenes.
Yes.
What'd you think of the interviews? Mr. Godina.
Mr. Godina, you know, he's, you can tell that he has a lot of passion for the community, you know. He's a little bit soft on it, but I thought he got across some of his points.
And what about Mr. Kelly, the bike guy?
The bike guy, yes, my friend Frank Kelly. You know, you can tell that's a little bit new to him here, and but you know what? Frank is just a big person in our community.
And Mrs. Newman.
Mrs. Newman is pretty dynamic. You know, she came back and she had the answers. She was real strong with things.
Yeah, she was one of my favorites. You know, she was very solid, very green, but her enthusiasm for the community was great.
So I think that the 3 candidates